Hello, my loves. Welcome back to the Energetic Shift podcast. I've got a juicy episode for you today, so come and have a brew with me. I am so excited to be here. Can you believe that we are in February? Well, we will be by the time you listen to this. And I put this topic as a carousel post at the beginning of the year. So a couple of weeks ago, I wrote a post about the biggest risks that I'd taken in my life, because as always over Christmas I had so much more space and creativity to be able to think back through things. As we do, we reflect, and I was looking a little bit more further afield, like into my past fully, like, and what makes me tick, and the things that I've done in my life. And don't get me wrong, 2025 was absolutely amazing and I did some incredible things in 2025, but it got me thinking, like, I've done some incredible things in all of my life, to be fair. Like, it didn't just start, while I was in business. It didn't just start this last couple of years. It's been forever. Like, I've always been a risk taker and a big achiever. And with big risk come big reward, right? And that's the way that I've always looked at it. And it got me thinking. I was thinking of Christmas, and I wrote this post out, and I posted it at the beginning of January, and it goes a little bit like this. And I'll riff on it, but I've got the post up in front of me, and I'm just going to go through it, and I'm going to talk about this from a podcast stroke YouTube point of view. The beginning of every year, generally, lots of you will be thinking about what's next, like what's going to unfold for the year ahead, what's 2026, plans gonna be for me, what am I gonna do this year, what am I gonna achieve this year, and thinking about your next investments, thinking about your next moves, thinking about your next marketing plan, thinking about your next strategies, all of these things in life and business. You know what you want, and you actually have the opportunities in front of you, and they're at your fingertips. They're all over. We can't avoid them. You've got people in your inbox, you've got people in your emails, you've got YouTube videos to watch, you've got podcasts to listen to, you've got social media content to consume, and they're all at your fingertips. Like, doors are open, opportunities are there for you, decisions you need to make, but you're stuck. And I see this a lot. Like, so many people are stuck in that decision paralysis. Like, they're scared because of the risk factor. And listen, right, I am big on being curious. Like, you have to be curious. You have to ask the questions. You have to figure shit out. You have to understand what what the risk is to you. And also, you need to really understand what's going to happen when you make the decision to either go for this or not go for this. And so you need to be curious, but also you need to fucking move. And that's the be all and end all, right? You need to actually make the moves. Decide either way. You never know the answers to anything unless you actually make the decision one way or another. So you have to take a risk. And either choice is a risk. If you choose no to an opportunity, to move to an investment, to a strategy, to whatever it is, if you say no, if you choose no, you're risking never seeing how that would have panned out. And if you say yes, you're risking it not working, right? And most of us are sat in that shit scared of, that were proper Yorkshire twang there, so scared to say yes to something out of fear of it not working, more than they are saying no to something and never getting the result of that, or understanding or seeing how that could have panned out for them, and the possibility of that result for them. And that, to me, like, that is just absolute ludicrosity. Like, I can't imagine that for me personally. So you've got to take the risks, and you've got to make the decisions, and you've got to take the steps forward. Nothing ever happens when you're sat on the fence. Nothing ever happens when you're sat on the fence waiting for the right time. And I've had conversations recently with people that are, they're waiting for their personal situation to sort itself out. They're waiting for their children to go into school before they start their business. They're waiting for, their clients, more clients to come in before they make their next investment. And you have to move to find out what's next. And people are not, they're just sat waiting. You get one fucking life, girls, one life. What are you waiting for? There is evidence around us, day in, day out. Winter's really tough for this. Like, really, really does slap us in the face. And people pass away. People pass away a lot more in the winter, I notice, than they do any other time of the frigging year. And I don't know what that's about, but I'm not going to go into that. So this time of year, it's a constant reminder, like, life's too short. You never know when your time is up. Like, what are you fucking waiting for? Just make the moves. And it doesn't always have to make logical sense. And I think, in fact, 10 times out of 10, it doesn't have to make logical sense. It probably shouldn't make logical sense. The biggest risks I've taken in my life, I've never made logical sense to me at the time. And I'm going to share a couple with you. I'm going to share a couple of my biggest risks, and they've been in life and love and business. They've been huge risks, but they've all paid off. They've all paid off. So I moved with these. I made the decision with these risks based on my intuition only, based on a feeling that I had, based on something that just felt right inside of me. And I could not for the life of me up here in my head make sense of that. But I didn't need to. It just felt like a full body yes. And when you're intuitive anyway, and I always have been before I got into business, before I delved into turning my passion into being, an intuitive business coach, I've always had that intuition. I've always had those feelings of like, I want to do that. Generally, it comes along with what you can, or somebody telling me it's not possible. And most of the time, I've ignored everybody else and listened to my intuition. And every time I've listened to my intuition, big risk, illogical or not, it's paid off. I've made it work and it's happened. So the first thing that I did that I've put on my post is I moved a guy in. I moved a guy in after a week of knowing him. 1 whole week. I had a son at that point as well. I had a baby. I had an 11-month-old baby. So, and I know that there'll be judgment from that. I got judgment at the time. I've had judgment when I've told people since. And I know that this podcast will bring some judgment also. We'll bring in some judgment also. I don't actually give a shit, to be fair. With love, I don't give a shit, because this paid off. This paid off for me. This had no guarantee. It had no safety net. I didn't know this man previous to a week before. I met him a week before. And it's not like I'd known him ages. It's not like it was my next door neighbour. It's not like it was a friend of a friend. This man could have been a serial killer. And I'm laughing about that, and I can only laugh about that now because when I look back, and if I put my responsible, logical, practical head on, absolute ridiculous thing to do when I had an 11-month-old at 20 years old, right? There was no guarantee. There was no safety net that this was going to pan out. I just knew, though. I loved him. Like, I fell in love with this man the moment I set eyes on him. I knew I would spend the rest of my life with him. No sense whatsoever. Senseless. Completely senseless. This paid off because we have been together for 20 years. And next month, we are renewing our vows because we've been married for 12 years. We have had the most amazing life so far. And in December, my husband, the guy I moved in after a week, asked me to marry him again. In fact, he didn't ask me to marry him again. He asked me if I'd do another 20 years with him. Do you want to do another 20 years inside, love? So I am absolutely in for another 20 years with this guy. And I just, honestly, I'm like, if you're listening to this and you're not watching it on YouTube, I'm smiling, and the love in my whole body right now, and the pride of me just trusting myself in that. And the reason I'm sharing these stories with you is because I want you to feel. I want you to feel my feelings, my energy as I'm talking to you about these, as I'm sharing them, because I want you to feel what it's like when things pay off. Feel what it's like when you take the big risks, when you do the illogical things, when you do the things that everybody else is telling you not to do, when you go against the grain, because you'll figure it out. And I'm going to give you some practical tips as well on how you can do this easier in your own life after I've shared some more with you. So the second biggest risk that I've put on my post, I've lots more that I'm going to share with you, but these are the big ones. These are the ones that will absolutely make you, make your mum, your bestie, and the internet disown you. I started a business with zero experience and absolutely no clue what I was doing. I had no influence whatsoever from anybody, like nobody. I saw a Facebook post for a business opportunity that I literally jumped at because it was a full body yes again. My intuition was like, woo, 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 go for it. Like, this is for you. Like, I look back now and I think I have seen so many posts like that same one, even since and thought they're scams. Like, why I did not think this one was a scam, I do not know. I do not know. But I joined a network marketing company and I fucking loved it. It was the best thing I could have done for myself and my family at that time. And I stayed with them for 5 years. But I had no role models. I had no influence. I didn't even know what business was at all. I had no idea. But with these things, they're businesses in a boxes, and like, without going into the nitty-gritty of it, like everything was there for me to just learn. Ultimately I had all of the willpower and all of the desire was in me, and my intuition was, like I said, alarm bells, as in like, woo woo, go for it, this is for you. Like, I had all of that in me, and I just was like, it's a no-brainer, I'm going for it, I'm doing it. Like, I invested 200 quid that I didn't have. Like, I don't know where I found it from, to be honest. I don't even know, I can't even remember, but it paid off, because 12 years later I'm still in business, multiple successful businesses, and I don't need a break from. I fucking love it. I love what I do. Without that, I wouldn't be where I am right now. And I had everybody and their dog telling me I was stupid. It was a scam. I'd get my fingers burnt. I've lost my 200 quid. Blah, blah, fucking blah. The next thing that I did was I quit my job. 6 months later, sorry. I quit my job before my business was solid enough. I was in my brand new business for 6 months. Still, I was ignorance on fire. Like, I had no idea what I was doing still. No idea what I was doing. I was just hustling like a madwoman and just going for it and just doing what I was told to do and doing that some more. And that was it. My mum turned around to me and told me I was irresponsible because I had my kids to think about. My husband has always been my support and my rock with this. So, like, I never got any criticism from him. Like, and he's the most realistic, practical man, logical man that there is. And he was just like, whatever you want, love. Like, whatever you want to do. I quit my job without my business being solid enough. Like, and network marketing, if you know anything about network marketing, it's month by month. Like, the month resets on the first of every month. Like, your business resets at the start of every month. Like, I was like in it. I had no emergency fund. I had no savings. I had no backup plan. I just knew I never wanted to work for anybody else ever again. I trusted myself. I trusted that I would do what it takes, and that paid off. And I have been 100% unemployable since 2015. No way I was ever going back to work. No way for anybody else. I'd had the taste of the life and I just made it work. And it worked, and I'm here years later. The next thing I did was I hired a coach, and this is when I started my coaching business. I had a coach before I was earning anywhere near enough money to comfortably pay her. Like, this was a high ticket coach, and this one was like twitchy bum. This one was I was digging deep for all of my self-trust and drive and ambition and everything, like, everything that I could bring to the table. I had to really dig deep for this one, because, yeah, trust me, this one was scary. This one was it made me sweat a lot, but I trusted. I trusted, and I knew that I would make it work, and it paid off. I stayed with this coach for 5 years. I continued to pay this coach large amounts of money every single month for 5 years. But what that did was it rewired how I thought, how I led myself, how I led others, how I earned money, how I trusted myself. That paid off tenfold, 100-fold, 500,000-fold, like so many times that paid off. And it's not about being reckless or lucky. I'm not telling you to go out there and just be like, oh, just wish you were lucky, or like, just play the lucky girl card. It's not about that. Like, this is about me telling you that you taking risks actually work. Like, if you do put the work in to yourself, once you make that decision to move and to try and to go for it, they pay off. And I am a walking, talking example of so many of these times that this has happened to me. And they're just a few. They're just 4. I've had so many in my life. So this is how these risks actually worked out. If you're sitting there thinking, how do I do this? How do I actually trust myself enough to take the risk? How do I trust myself enough to hire the coach? How do I trust myself enough to quit my job? How do I trust myself enough to start that business? The first thing you need to do is you need to stop chasing all the answers. How many times do you sit there going, I need to know that this will work out? That doesn't work. Like, don't sit there doing that. You don't need to know that it'll work. You don't need to know. And I heard this analogy once, and it actually made so much sense. So don't concentrate on like the result. You concentrate on the next step. So, for example, a mountain climber doesn't walk up a mountain or climb up a mountain looking at the top. He looks, or she looks, at where they're going to put where their next step is, where they're going to put their hand, where they're going to put the foot, their next move. That's what they look at. So you have to start listening to your inner guidance and think to yourself, does this feel right? You need to drop out of your head and into your body. And I say this all the time, out of your head into your body. How does it feel? How does it feel inside of you to say yes to this? Every single decision that I've made, big risks and small risks, come with nerves. They all come with nerves. Like, I'm nervous. It doesn't mean that, like, just, and even now, even making big investments now, and even, you know, making big decisions now to move or to pivot or to start a business or to do whatever. Like, I don't do that nerveless. Like, I've got nerves. Like, I have nerves. It's like sometimes I lose sleep over it. You know, I still have those, like, being fully transparent and open and honest with you. Like, I lose sleep over it, but I still do it. There's a difference between the panic though and pressure energy and a grounded knowing energy, like this feels right energy. So I want you to just make sure that you're practicing listening to that and feeling into that. Is it pure panic and pressure, or is it like, this feels right but it's a little bit uncomfortable and scary? That's how you know whether it's your intuition telling you to go do the right thing or do the wrong thing. Like, if it is just fear, panic, and like, I cannot do this, or if it's just like, oh, this feels a little bit twitchy bum, but I'm going to do it anyway because it feels right. It's like, I don't even need to know the answers, I just need to move. Number 2 is stop asking, will this work? If I do this, will it work? And I started doing this. I said, so I stopped asking, will it work? And I started asking, can I handle myself if it doesn't? This is the most important thing, because we have to try and experiment with things, right? We have to trial and error stuff. We have to see. Nobody knows if it's going to work for you unless you actually do it. You can see other people around you doing stuff and it's working for them or it's not working for them. It doesn't mean it's going to work or not work for you. You have to actually execute that yourself. You have to actually live through that experience yourself to see if it actually works for you or not. Everybody's different in life, risks, business, everything. Like, it is knowing and understanding if you can handle yourself if it doesn't work. What are you going to do then? And it's not about necessarily having a backup plan, because I always think if you have a backup plan, you'll lead towards the backup plan. But like, it's knowing that you've got what it takes. You trust yourself enough to handle yourself and be okay to pivot, to move, to make the next decision if it doesn't work. And this one does change everything, like this knowing if you can handle yourself if it doesn't work. And most people don't actually fear the failure necessarily. They fear the self-judgment that comes from, oh my God, it didn't work, or the shame, or the I told you so energy from other people, or, you know, having to rebuild themselves because something didn't work or something didn't work out for them. And to trust yourself even if it didn't work and not give up on yourself. That's number 2. That's safety. That's safety, knowing that you'll be okay if it doesn't. And I don't mean that from a practical sense of like, I'll be okay because I've got money in the bank, or I'll be okay because I can do X, Y, Z. It's being okay in your body, in your nervous system, in your knowledge of yourself. Like, it's okay. Like, not everything works out. When you carry that energy, when you know that, when you are not bothered about the fact that it might not work, fucking unstoppable. Watch. Unstoppable. And number 3 is make decisions from the woman you are becoming. So make decisions from the woman that has got the thing already, the result already. Not the one that's fearing the result or fearing whether it works or not. Not the one that you've outgrown, the woman that you are becoming. Not the woman that you are now or have been or have outgrown. So every move that I've made, like I said, comes with nerves, and it's uncomfortable because it requires you to lead before you're a leader, and not waiting to feel like the business owner, or not waiting to feel like the woman who's worthy of support, or someone who could hold more, or, you know, putting yourself in that position where you act as if you're her until your nervous system catches up. That's what you've got to do. So you've got to put yourself in a position where you're acting like you're her before your nervous system catches up. And that can be quite difficult. And that takes practice and time. So start with smaller risks first and bring out that evidence. And then number 4, back yourself after you make the decision. How many times have you made a decision then panicked like fuck and been like, oh my God, shit, like, what if, oh my God, I fucked up, I changed my mind, or like going back on your word. Oh my God, like the amount of times that's happened, and I see that happen all the time. Like, this is where most people fuck up. This is exactly where most people fuck up. They decide, they immediately start doubting, they're half committing, they're energetically leaking, they're absolutely fucked. They're on the downward spiral. With me, I decided, then I stood by my decisions every single time. I've done it now, I've said it now, I'm doing it. I can't not. Holding that energy instead of constantly reevaluating your decision is key. Is key. No, maybe I should have waited. Just no constantly reevaluating, just holding that commitment in that decision that you made. These risks for me didn't pay off because I'm something special or I was just born this way or whatever. Like, I've had to work at these things, right? They paid off because I trusted myself to commit, to follow through, and to do whatever it takes no matter what. Like, I want something, I'm going for it, and I'll do whatever it takes to get there. Alignment comes from within. So build that aligned energy to be able to take bigger risks in your life and business. You have to know yourself. You have to listen to those nudges of desire in, take them and take them and take the nudges of the desire, like decide and take the opportunities when love or success or more money or support come your way. And I bet you have ignored those so many times, those nudges. And just to end on this fact, you don't need proof that it's going to work. You just need to trust the woman who keeps getting the nudge, and you need to trust the woman who will be okay whatever happens. And trust is a big thing. So if you listen to this and you're like, I really need to learn to trust myself more to be able to make these big decisions, I have a masterclass that I recorded last year that is the absolute bomb at teaching you how to trust yourself more and have that self-trust in you so that you can do these things and make these big decisions and make these moves and be bold and brave and feel okay if things don't work out for you, and to lead yourself properly. So if you want this, I will put the link to the Trust Masterclass in the show notes, and I will see you in the next episode. Don't forget to leave me a 5-star review if you've taken something from this. Reach out to me on Instagram and come say hi. It's me in my inbox, and I would love to hear what you've taken from today's episode. See you next time.